Why is it that some people seem to transform their lives completely while others stay stuck in the same pattern year after year after year? You've read the books, watched the videos, maybe even attended the seminars, yet you find yourself in the same place, wrestling with the same issues, wondering why nothing's really changed. It's frustrating, isn't it? This cycle of hope and disappointment. It makes you wonder if there's something wrong with you. There isn't. The problem lies elsewhere. Today, I'm going to share something that might be uncomfortable to hear, but it's the key that unlocks everything else. The hard truth about self-growth that nobody talks about. You consume so much content about improving yourself. The dopamine hit when you discover a new concept, a new framework, a new way of seeing things. It feels like progress, doesn't it? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Consuming information about growth isn't the same as growing. We've become collectors of knowledge rather than practitioners of change. Think about it. How many books have you read where you thought, this will change everything, only to finish the book and change nothing? How many inspiring videos have you watched, feeling motivated for a day or two before sliding back into old patterns? Knowledge without application is just entertainment. Let that sink in for a moment. The self-help industry thrives on our confusion between learning and implementing, between knowing and becoming. Here's another hard truth. We often hide from real change by making things complicated. I just need to understand more. I need the perfect system. I need to figure out exactly why I'm like this first. These statements feel reasonable, don't they? Almost noble. But complexity is often procrastination in disguise. The most powerful changes are usually simple, uncomfortably simple. It's not that you don't know what to do. It's that doing it feels threatening to the identity you've built. If you've always seen yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, actually becoming disciplined means letting go of that story. It means stepping into unknown territory where you don't have your familiar excuses and self-concepts to fall back on. That's terrifying. So instead, we keep searching for that missing piece of information, that perfect approach that will somehow make change painless. It won't. True growth exists in a paradox. You must accept yourself completely while simultaneously being committed to changing yourself entirely. Most of us get stuck on one side or the other. Either we're too accepting, this is just who I am, creating a prison of low expectation, or we're driven by self-rejection. I'll be worthy when I fix myself, creating an exhausting treadmill of never feeling good enough. The growth paradox demands that you hold both truths. I am whole and worthy exactly as I am right now, and I am capable of and committed to profound transformation. This isn't easy. Our minds want consistency, not paradox. But in this tension is where real growth happens. Let's be honest about something else. Meaningful growth hurts, not in a motivational, no pain, no gain kind of way, in a deep, identity-shaking way. When you truly grow, you are letting parts of yourself die. Old beliefs, familiar patterns, comfortable limitations. There's grief in that process. There's fear. There's resistance. The brain interprets this kind of change as a threat. It will fight you with everything it has. Anxiety, rationalization, sabotage, distraction. This is why most self-help feels so good but produces so little change. It's designed to bypass this pain, to make you feel like transformation can happen without loss. It can't. The caterpillar doesn't gently transition into a butterfly. It dissolves completely in the chrysalis before reforming. This dissolution is what we resist most fiercely. You want to know the fastest way to see where you most need to grow. Look at your relationships, not the casual ones, the intimate ones, the ones where you can't hide. The hard truth is that your deepest pattern, your most ingrained limitation, will show up in how you love, how you fight, how you connect, how you distance. Your relationships aren't separate from your self-growth journey. They are the most accurate reflection of it. This is why isolated self-improvement often fails. You can meditate alone for hours, journal pages of insights, set ambitious goals, but put you back in a room with someone who triggers your old patterns, and you'll see what's really changed, or hasn't. Real growth happens in contact with others, in the friction of different perspectives. In the mirror, they hold up to parts of yourself you cannot see alone. Here's perhaps the hardest truth of all. There is no finish line. The transformed life you're chasing is a mirage. Not because transformation isn't real, but because it's not a destination. We carry this hidden belief that one day we'll get there, that place where we've finally fixed ourselves, where life becomes consistently easy and satisfying. This myth keeps us trapped in a future-focused mindset, always preparing to live rather than living. The reality of self-growth is that it's not a linear path to a fixed destination. It's a spiral. You will revisit the same themes, the same wounds, the same patterns throughout your life, but each time you can approach them with greater awareness, greater compassion, greater skill. This isn't failure. This is the actual process. So what does real self-growth look like? if not endless consumption of motivational content. It looks like courage, the courage to sit with uncomfortable emotions rather than escaping them, the courage to try and fail publicly rather than waiting until you're ready, the courage to question your most cherished beliefs about yourself, the courage to set boundaries that might disappoint others, the courage to admit you were wrong, the courage to start before you feel confident. Growth isn't knowledge acquired, it's courage practiced. Small acts of bravery, repeated daily, in the laboratory of your actual life, not in theory, not someday, now. If you're feeling overwhelmed by these hard truths, there's good news. Self-growth ultimately comes down to a simple decision, not a once-and-done decision, but one you'll make again and again. Will you choose comfort, or will you choose growth? Will you retreat into what's familiar when things get challenging, or will you lean into the discomfort of becoming? This choice presents itself hundreds of times each day, in tiny moments that seem insignificant. Do you speak up or stay silent? Do you follow through or make an excuse? Do you face that feeling or distract yourself? Do you take that risk or play it safe? Each choice by itself seems small, but together they are building your future self. The truth is, you are always exactly as grown as the choices you've made up until now. No more, no less. So where do you go from here? Start by getting radically honest about where you've been substituting learning for doing. Identify one growth area that matters deeply to you. Then commit to one uncomfortably simple action that you'll take daily, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient. Daily. Forget motivation. Build systems instead. Environments that make growth the path of least resistance. Surround yourself with people who embody what you're trying to become. People who will hold you accountable without judgment. Develop a relationship with discomfort. Learn to see it not as a warning sign, but as a compass pointing toward growth. And most importantly, practice self-compassion as fiercely as you practice self-improvement. When you fail, and you will fail, speak to yourself as you would to someone you love deeply. Then, get back up and continue. Before we reach our final truth, there's something we need to address, something that might completely reframe how you think about growth. We've been taught to set ambitious goals, to visualize the destination, to keep our eyes on the prize, and there's value in that, sometimes. But have you noticed how often this creates a subtle form of self-rejection? I'll be happy when I reach that weight. I'll feel successful once I make that much money. I'll be worthy of love after I've fixed these parts of myself. This goal fixation keeps us perpetually suspended between dissatisfaction with the present and idealization of the future. It's exhausting. What if the most transformative approach isn't about fixing your gaze on some distant summit, but instead falling in love with the process of climbing? What if the goal isn't the point at all? The most fulfilled people I've ever met aren't those who achieved the most impressive goals. They're the ones who found deep meaning in the daily practice of becoming. They set directions rather than destination. They measure growth by how they show up each day, not just what they ultimately achieve. This isn't about lowering your standards. It's about recognizing that the quality of your journey shapes the quality of your life far more than reaching any particular outcome. There's another truth about growth that's rarely acknowledged. The most significant changes often happen in the spaces between the visible milestones. We want our growth to be linear, measurable, Instagram-worthy, but the most profound transformations are rarely so neat. Real growth often looks like this: months of seemingly no progress, followed by a sudden breakthrough, old patterns returning when you least expect them, periods of confusion that precede clarity, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes 3 steps back. This is normal, this is natural, this is human. The seed breaking open underground doesn't look like progress from above, but without that invisible breaking, there would be no eventual bloom. Trust the process, even when, especially when, you can't see immediate results. I promised hard truths about self-growth, and I've delivered several, but there's one more, perhaps the most important of all. The ultimate paradox of self-growth is this: the goal isn't to become someone new, it's to become more fully yourself, not the self defined by your conditioning, your fears, your limitations, but your essential self, the self that exists beneath the layers of protection and adaptation. True growth isn't about adding more, it's about removing what isn't really you. It's about having the courage to be simpler, more authentic, more present, to let go of who you think you should be so you can discover who you already are. That's the hard truth about self-growth. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming real. So what does this look like in practice? It means starting each morning with one question: how can I be more authentically myself today? It means creating regular moments of stillness where you can hear your own voice beneath the noise of shoulds and expectations. It means catching yourself when you're performing rather than being. It means setting boundaries that honor your true needs, not the person you're pretending to be. It means celebrating small victories, not because they get you closer to some goal, but because they represent moments of alignment with your deeper self. It means finding teachers and mentors who see your essence and reflect it back to you, rather than trying to mold you into their image. Most importantly, it means practicing immense patience with yourself as you untangle years, perhaps decades, of moving away from your authentic core. This journey isn't linear. It's cyclical. There will be days when you feel utterly lost, disconnected from this deeper self I'm describing. That's okay. That's part of the process too. What matters isn't perfection. What matters is returning to the path each time you wander off it, coming home to yourself again and again. That's not just self-improvement. That's the journey of a lifetime. The question is, are you ready to begin?